Welcome back to Conquering Kalimdor. In the last episode, we conquered all of Northern Barrens. This episode, we're going to finish up in the middle of the Barrens. I logged off in the crossroads, so I went ahead and had all my followers re-follow me so we can continue on our journey. As you can see the map, I did all of the northern areas here. You can see my mouse, well, kind of. You can see my mouse mousing over where I've been. Now I'm going to head east, past the mine, and we're first going to go to Humar, and then down to Ratchet, where we will head south. I head east, past the mines that we've already been through several times. I killed the Kodo that I've already killed several times already, but hey, I'm gonna kill it anyway. Once we knock it out, take out that rock nose that's attacking us, and head over to Humar's tree. Now that we're geared enough, it should be relatively easy to take on Humar and all of his mates. I mentioned this last time I walked past him, but I feel like the model for the lion is much darker in fur, which makes sense since Humar in World of Warcraft is a black lion. It's not quite black, but it's definitely a darker brown than normal lions, which is a nice little touch. I pull him over, and the fight begins. I focus on Humar first since he's the hardest. The mountain lions were interrupting me, so I switched over to them. Since they die faster, if I can get them out of the way, then I don't have to worry about them and focus on Humar. Once we took them out, we finished off Humar. As I looted him, I didn't get a lot of good stuff. I just got some alchemic base, which is okay. I picked up the babies so I could turn them into pets later on. And then I realized I forgot one of the mountain lions, so we killed her right away. Now, if you remember, I made a gallows from one of the mods a couple episodes ago. The reason is this. Outside of this building here in World of Warcraft is a gallows. And since I have one from another mod, I decided to make it and put it out here. Now it feels complete. I then head over to Ratchet. We go down to the Merchant Cove. Now remember, we saw some enemies there in the tents. I figured they were going to be Blackhand, but they are not Blackhand pirates, which kind of doesn't make sense to me since this whole area is full of pirates in normal World of Warcraft, but instead it's full of Alliance. So we take them on. The Alliance are a little bit well-geared, but with all of us combined, we were able to outnumber them. I head over to the boat. Again, not quite a pirate boat, but it is an Alliance boat. I wanted to see if there was anything up top. My followers, for some reason, were not able to follow me up top. They wouldn't even teleport to me, which is what they usually do. As I got up top, I heard the battle music and all of the NPCs yelling. And then from the brig, here they all come, including a boss and a couple of archers. I noticed that the staircase was a little bit bugged, and they trapped me. I thought I was going to die, but I managed to get out of the way just in time. And since the staircase was bugged, they couldn't get up and reach me. They tried, but they didn't really know how to do that. I wasn't able to take them on by myself, so I abandoned ship. We continued down the Merchant Cove, slaying all of the Alliance on our way. They dropped some good gear and some resources, also some high-leveled items. Strong gear I was giving to my followers so that they had better equipment. Anything left over I would dismantle later, but you'll see that later in this episode. We then finally make it to Northwatch Hold. Now, normally I've been skipping Alliance settlements, as I'm going to save them for a later episode and knock them all out at once. But since there wasn't really much left in the middle of the Barrens, I decided this is how I'm going to finish up this episode. I get backed into a corner and hid behind a wall because the Night Elf Archer was actually hitting me really hard. One arrow took about a third of my health, and I had gotten shot twice. I was about to die, but then my followers came and saved me. Once they took out the Night Elf, I rushed back in. There was a couple of Alliance, villagers, but they die in 1 or 2 hits. I found a male Night Elf, which was a first. I haven't seen one of those yet in this server. He had some pretty good gear on him, and I decided to give it to one of my followers, namely Gru. Now he's got epic quality boots and an epic quality hat. We finished up the courtyard on the lower level first. It took a little bit because there were quite a lot of Alliance. We make our way to the first tower. As I make my way into the tower, it was well guarded by other Alliance soldiers. We took them out, but it was not easy. They seemed to target me, which I'm guessing they're coded to target the player rather than the followers, but I took a lot of damage, especially when all of them were on me, so I tried circling out of the way when I could so my followers could tank for me. Fighting one at a time wasn't that bad, though. I didn't really like having just one axe in my hand. Plus, I'm not used to playing with an axe. I'm actually used to playing with a two-handed sword. Once we get up top, we find the boss, who's well armored, a lot of HP. Zakan slit his throat and he died. I then take his heart as a trophy. For the Horde. Anyway, there's the dismantling bench. I looked around to see all the other types of benches that were available, but once I went to the dismantling bench, all of the extra gear and items that I had gotten from looting the bodies of the Alliance, I put into the dismantling bench so I could get some raw materials from them. Not only did this help get rid of some of the weight that I was carrying, but also now I have materials that I could use for building other types of things when I head back home. I make my way to the very top of the first tower. And there were a couple of chests up here. Actually, no, there was just one chest. There wasn't really any other enemies, though. There was another boss fight up here as well, though we were able to take him out a little bit easier now that we were in the open. The Alliance soldiers I handled while my followers handled the boss. Once we finished up clearing out Northwatch, I finished up the last 2 towers, but there was not much in them, so you're not going to see a lot of footage on those. Once I looted all the bodies, we headed out and went around Northwatch to where you would find the Stolen Silver quest. It's an area full of raptors in the game, and sure enough, check it out, there are raptor models in this server. Just like the Kodo, they're put over a pre-existing skeletal animation of, well, not quite a rhino, but it is an ostrich. It kind of looks weird with the ostrich running animation on a raptor body, but I'll tell you what, these raptors are no joke. As you saw there, all I took was 2 hits, and it almost dropped me down to death. I had to quickly run to hope that my followers would tank them for me. There was no way I could fight them by myself, so I let my followers do all the hard work. I didn't have any more potions since I used them all earlier in the last episode and the beginning of this episode, so I went to the nearby oasis where I crafted some more potions from the aloe. I also made some bandages. Then I headed back to the raptors. Now that I could heal myself if I had taken damage, I wouldn't have to stay out of the fight the entire time. It took a while for us to clear out the raptors. Not only that, we were having respawns from the first few raptors that we killed. I make my way over to where the stolen silver would be. There were a couple of chests there. And sure enough, check it out, silver. Though, I'm sure it was just a random spawn. I don't think silver would actually spawn any other time. It was just a lucky chance that I got it. Anyway, I finished up half of the barrens now, being northern and the middle of the barrens, but I wasn't quite ready to take on the southern barrens, especially now that my followers, all of their inventories were full, and now that we have a lot of rare materials that I had gathered, we could make some stronger weapons and armor. I decided to get onto the Zeppelin so I could head back home. I haven't taken the Zeppelin yet. This will be the first time taking it. I looked down to check out everything as it took me back to Orgrimmar. Down below there, you can see the world boss that I skipped a couple of episodes ago. We will be making our way back here to finish this up, but at a later date. We cross over into Durotar, and then I look behind to see that my followers can't quite figure out how the Zeppelin works. I look back and I see the other Zeppelin. It made its way to Razor Hill and continued on, though this one actually parks at Orgrimmar near the actual Zeppelin tower. I walk over so I could see Orgrimmar from this high up. It's quite nice to see it from a different angle. Once the Zeppelin landed, I decided to head down and head to Orgrimmar. Make my way home, where I would then distribute all of my items into the respective crafting benches, as well as started to make some gear for my followers. Though I had to look at my house one more time. It wasn't quite looking up to snuff as I walked into Orgrimmar and looked at it. So I'm going to have to fix that later. And here you see me putting all the items back into the benches. But that'll be it for this episode. I've conquered now half of the Barrens. The next episode you'll see me conquering the Southern Barrens, which is actually much larger than Northern and the Middle Barrens combined. So I hope you stay tuned, because that episode will come out next week on Wednesday. And thank you for watching. This concludes this episode of Conquering Kalimdor. If you enjoyed watching this, please subscribe, as I will be posting more videos on my adventures with this mod weekly. Like the video and feel free to comment below. Thank you for watching.